Hey, Feral Audio consumer, did you know Feral Audio's got a new survey?
Hey, I am a Feral Audio consumer even though you're not talking about that, and I didn't know that.
I am talking about that.
Man, we're on a mission to get to know our listeners a little better, and that means you. So basically these surveys, they kind of help us get information about what you like, right?
I guess so. Your participation in these surveys makes a difference for everyone making podcasts at Feral. It's a super easy way to support the shows you love. So we appreciate you helping out. I mean, I'll say I don't. But that's just me. I don't like the idea of. I don't mind the idea of a survey.
Right.
Please feel free to let someone at Feral know that you wish I lost weight. You can seriously in advance go fuck yourself.
I don't think these are the survey questions.
Okay.
No, it's
I
good.
imagine it's more like, who are you? Like what if we find out that there's like, a bunch of asexual listeners,
Right.
and that they in particular don't have, they don't feel like they have their point of view represented. Like, the great thing about podcasting networks is like it's very low overhead to create a podcast. So this survey is a great first step to help us build a better Feral Audio that includes like if representation is your jam or it just like your interests,
Right. Are you into football? Would you never, for instance, ever buy a football app if it was advertised to you? Is that not helpful to you?
Right. We can tailor make connections between audiences and
Right.
and advertising.
This survey is going to exactly help out those kinds of issues because we don't know you don't like football.
You can find the survey at feralaudio.com/survey. That's feralaudio.com/survey.
You're helping yourselves.
The Feral Audio survey. You'll float too.
Today's episode is brought to you by Last Rampage, the new true crime film starring Robert Patrick, Heather Graham, and Bruce Davison. And we had the pleasure of speaking to someone involved with the movie.
My name is Robert Patrick. I play Gary Tyson. That's Gary Tyson with an I in the film Last Rampage. Evil broke loose in 1978. Arizona State Penitentiary. That was interesting. What it was like playing a real person as opposed to a fictional character. It was really trying to wrap your head around how this guy could do some of the things that he could do. That was the things that you were drawing on. Of course, there was no way you're going to try to do an impersonation of a guy, nor was I going to try to, get as heavy as the guy. I didn't have enough time to really go that route. But I found him really, really interested in trying to live up to the charisma that he had. I fell in love with the folklore of the story, like the whole idea that he was a guy that was raised during the Great Depression. See, that from a historical point of view, those kind of stories resonate with me. That yearning for something better, trying to find it, have to steal to get it. How do you deal with that if you're a religious person? How do you run underneath that? How do you justify it? He had a double life sentence that he began to push his wife and his kids to say, God, I'm going to serve one term, and when I die, I'm going to serve another term in hell. I got to get out of this. And the length that he was willing to go to get his kids to help him get through this and get him out of prison was fascinating to me.
Don't miss Last Rampage, the true story of the prison break of Gary Tyson. In theaters and available on iTunes and all on-demand platforms today. For more information, visit truecrimelive.com or follow the movie on Twitter at Last Rampage Film or on Facebook.com/Last Rampage Film.
Hear ye, oh yes, and a hey, nani, nani. Welcome to Harmontown, everybody. How are you tonight? As comptroller of Harmontown, I, Jeff Davis, officially declare this session of Harmontown to be in session. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the mayor of Harmontown, Dan Harmon.
Thank you. Thank you. You're a good crowd. You're a good crowd. I don't say that every week. I'm not going to
Because they aren't always good crowds.
No. Sometimes I won't get away with that lie anymore because we're on the internet now. I am notoriously bad at opening shows. Case in point, what I just did. What was that? But I want you to think of it as more of an evolution of performance on stage. The almighty mud skipper, for instance, the link between fish and breathing reptile. Well, not a graceful entrance. But perhaps one of the most important things that ever happened. A floundering, slimy, sweaty, gross thing, gasping for air in mud. Think about it next time you are about to judge somebody.
This show is flopping its way onto the shore of entertainment.
Yeah. Here was another awkward transition to a greater world. Maybe you heard of him. Jesus Christ. Don't you feel a little bad about how you welcomed him? So I ask you again, are you having a good time tonight? Okay. I'm kidding. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't want to be one of those people that leverages people emotionally. I didn't mean to do that. The theme of tonight is confession. If we're going to found a new colony, as we will one day, I promise, and we're going to talk about the Mars developments later, Jeff has a theory that I think is very important for him to confess.
Well, we'll get to this.
Yeah. Or we won't, because we're both drunk, and that segues me into what I think is the more important theme. But I'll just say to you later, if the show's dragging later, as opposed to now.
This rocket ship that we're on right now.
If you see this look on our face that you may have sometimes seen where we're like, hey, Jim Henson, what? You feel free to shout out Mars, and we'll get Jeff started on his obsessive theories about what's happening there right now.
I can stand by everything I think.
But I want to start with the theme of confession, partly because our surprise guest tonight I think he's a good way to start things out, and I want to get him out of here because he's doing us a favor. I don't have a lot of guests anymore. I went on our following guests podcast live in San Francisco months and months and months ago during the comedy festival in San Francisco, and They had some preamble to their podcast. There's four guys that host it, or maybe there was only two. I don't know. I walked in pretty drunk, and they all did stand-up.
Why were you that drunk? You knew that you were at a comedy festival. You're a professional. Why did you show up that drunk? You just. The show was on at 8, and you just started drinking at 2, or what?
I think it was on at let's say it was on at 9, and I got there at 8:30. But then I wasn't on until midnight. That was part of my whole shtick. If you listen to the thing, I come out and I'm like, "You kept me waiting back there," and I was like, I was doing a bit. I was being my bag of tricks is like I go, "I'm angry," like it's a dumb bit. Like I just fall back on it. I don't know. My dad hit me too much. I think it's funny to come out and go like, well, I was waiting backstage forever. And then I started making fun of them for doing stand-up, which precipitated in me making fun of stand-up in general, which resulted in me over and over and over again. And for those of you who are alcoholics, you know that the first thing that goes out the window is your sense of overkill and timing. You become a 6-year-old child who's just like, well, this is funny. And if they stop laughing, I'll just wait for them to remember how funny it is. And I kept doing this.
It's called Harmontown.
I kept doing this joke over and over and over again, where I was just doing a joke about jokes. I was like pretending to be a stand-up and going, well, black people are on a podcast like this, and white people are on a podcast like that, and that reaction happened. The silence. When I was growing up, it was a big deal. You know, you come out, you point out the differences between black people and white people. It was very celebrated, very funny. I picked the wrong decade to lampoon that, and I picked the wrong substance to lampoon it on, for all I know. But most of this is a blur to me. The important thing about tonight's story, before I bring him up, this is how I want to introduce him, because I barely know this guy. I was on his podcast once. I've met him twice. He was here last week because he was finishing a podcast upstairs here at Meltdown with John Crickfalusi, and I happened to bump into him. Hey, how are you? Haven't seen you since I ruined your podcast. Why haven't you aired it? And I expected the answer to be, well, because you're a big sloppy drunk shithead and you fucked up the whole thing and it's unairable, which I would accept, but I would also be like, fuck you, you prude. If that was his answer. His answer was, well, you know, by the time we started being ready to release it, that Chevy Chase thing happened, and then that happened, and we waited for that to cool out, and then, like, you got fired, and there was no point in time where I felt like, we're doing this guy a big favor by airing this episode. But he said that. It was like, wow, you're a good guy. Would you come up tonight? You want to be a guest thing? And I was like, dude, I know you have dinner plans. He's like, yeah, maybe next week. And he showed up tonight. He showed up in the green room. And I said, how quick can we get you out of here? He said, as quick as possible. And I've already betrayed him. But I wanted to make sure my introduction was fitting, because I want you to know, because I don't know that much about him. I only know that about him, which I think is a lot. He's a gentleman in a world without gentlemen. I don't know what we're going to do with him. Let's just talk to him, maybe tee off the theme of confession.
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Benson.
What?
Wow, sorry, what? I didn't know who it was. I just presumed.
Please welcome to what is basically his own stage, Chris Hardwick. Come on. There you go.
Hello, Dan Harmon.
Pussy fever, got pussy fever.
Oh my God, thank God.
Got pussy fever.
I don't want the cure. It's sad now. That's a thing from Community, and it's so sad now. It's
you know what you should do is you should drop the song down into a minor key so it's sad. Pussy fever.
Yeah. It's because, like, when you research St. Patty's Day and you find out that the colors are people got slaughtered, and you dig deep in any holiday and you find out some guy got hung upside down and eviscerated.
Now Pussy Fever's like the book Hot Zone, where it's just like everyone's.
I don't know what that means.
That was the monkey book.
That was a brave confession.
Yeah, thank you. See, we're confessing tonight.
That's good. That was a nice long intro. Yes, the truth of the matter was, I was worried that because you were making fun of stand-up,
right?
Which I know as a comedian,
right?
And the audience was way on board with you at first.
For the first,
and then there's a point
until I tried to introduce him to what I call the rule of 18s.
the rule
in comedy.
The rule of 18s, which is 1 through 9. Really funny. 10 through 15. Wow. And then 16, 17, 18, even more hilarious.
Andy Kaufman is reborn.
This is a picture I took of you on stage.
It's a picture of me. I look like a frog.
He looks like Dan's drunk on the stage. Basically, it looks like a toddler photograph from a Sears portrait studio.
Because I was learning to walk.
And this is where you were like you were grinding.
I was humping the stage.
You were grinding your junk into the stage, going, "Black people do this and white people do this," and there was no subject.
Yeah.
It was, and so at a certain point, you know, a couple of people were like, "Hey," and I just didn't. It was not at all about race. Nothing you were doing was actually about race, but I just didn't. When the Chevy thing broke, I didn't want it to be another like TMZ or someone goes, and look at this offensive thing he's doing over there. Right. This guy's full of some.
No, sure. I had become Charlie Sheen for like a most exhilarating 3 weeks of my life, and I was Charlie Sheen. And I mean, a very minor scale.
And if people don't get where I just didn't want people to make it about something that it was never about. It was about you making fun of us because he came out. You didn't go on at midnight. But it wasn't early. And
so okay, maybe we have some contention here.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't early.
I think I was waiting back back there long
wasn't
enough
really.
to drink 2 bottles of Grey Goose.
It was
That's how I measure time. I don't know.
So we did stand up top of the show, and then you came out, and I love that you were making fun of us and you were making fun of stand-up. It was such a great dynamic on the show. But we always want people to feel like, fun and celebrated and positive and
But also
supported.
safe.
And you just didn't want, I just didn't want the wrong person to take something that they read in a headline out of context and say, oh, that Dan Harmon did this. And like, no, you weren't there. It wasn't about that at all.
Right.
And so that's all. It was just sort of
That's
like...
what my story is. It doesn't even matter if you're right or wrong. The fact that that's the diamond loop you have in your eye when you're looking at anything makes you one of the last true gentlemen in a horrible wasteland. I mean, really, we're all eating each other. I mean, I would like to think I would also that thought would also cross my mind. Partly, I don't know, but I was just astounded. It was like I did not expect to hear that coming out of your mouth. I really don't know you, and for you to extend me that courtesy, I expected to see a guy ride by on a giant bicycle. I felt like we were in an era where you put your pinky out when you drink, and you put a cape over the thing. It was just like it seemed like second nature to you. Like, oh, you had enough problems going on back then.
Yeah, I just didn't want to add to that. And it was but the truth of the matter is the audio on live shows is very, very difficult. We do get a lot of complaints on that because we set, 4 mics are set on the table and people lean back, people lean forward, the audience is mic'd separately, and audio levels on live shows are just very hard to normalize. So that was actually the other issue. So it really was a couple things, but it was a really fun show, and I'm glad that you did it, and we'll have you back on.
Also, racism levels are hard to normalize too. So I don't know. Well,
It's also hard to on a podcast to really get the sensation of a white man humping a stage.
Yeah.
supposedly lampooning something while inventing a new art form himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, people here know, but it's sort of a classic stand-up. When you're making fun of stand-up comedy, you say things like, men and women are like this, and San Francisco and New York are like this, and
right.
flying is like this, and black people do this way. The Simpsons have the classic, oh, black people drive a car like this.
Right.
White people like...
And
beep, 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 beep.
classic's the important word. I was doing it 20 years after everyone already got the joke.
Yeah. There's that one Simpsons episode where Homer's on the couch and he's watching. He's like, "It's true, we're so lame," or whatever. And it's like, and they made, so that is a classic stand-up, making fun of stand-up joke. But I just didn't want people to misconstrue what it was actually
Well,
about.
I thought it was amazing. My philosophy is I got drunk, went on your show, and said stuff into a recorder. And also, I'm currently famous for playing a guy's voicemail into a thing. I don't think you can go ahead, let it loose. My deals are closed with CBS and Fox.
My favorite part about how drunk you were is you came out. You're like, you would talk for a second. You were like, yeah, Heat Vision and Jack. I am so drunk, and it is your fault. It is your motherfucking fault that I am this drunk. I've been backstage for 5 hours. It wasn't really 5 hours, but it must have felt like. But I do have to apologize. We should not have all done stand up before you came out. We should have just brought you out.
Well, you shouldn't have had Matt Myra headline. I just said that to get a laugh, and it didn't get
It
big
worked.
enough.
No, it did.
Are we going to get a confession out of Chris?
Yeah. That's what I wanted to. I said to you backstage, because here's the other thing about Chris, and I don't know how public it is and how much it isn't, but I know that my girlfriend, after I did this debacle, it was after that my girlfriend Erin, who came to San Francisco with me and watched this whole thing, she was like, part of that might have been a little bit of a Chris is sober. He used to drink. Now he doesn't anymore. And I thought, like people that used to drink and now don't anymore, like a good 85% of them are pretty uncomfortable around.
No. It's a good reminder that I made the right choice.
Yeah. That's how I'd think of it. That's how I'd assume. But
No. I don't care. I've been sober for 9 years. I don't even remember. I have flashes of like, oh yeah, I used to be that guy. I've now pawned it off on, I had this fat brother named Peter and he used to fuck shit up. Like, I don't even take responsibility for it anymore.
But I thought, because tonight's theme is confessions,
yeah,
we're having you come up and I'm confessing that I ruined your podcast and I did it because I'm an alcoholic asshole.
No, it wasn't.
And you're a great stand-up guy.
No.
I was wondering if you, in the green room, I said, like, maybe in classic sober fashion, maybe you have a confession.
A couple drunk. I can give you a couple drunk confessions. One is sort of a cool story, bro, because it doesn't really go anywhere. But in 2001, I went to London and I was visiting. Went to London for a couple weeks because you can literally drink everywhere in London. Like you can drink in museums, you can drink at zoos, like everywhere it just has alcohol, and they think it's adorable and charming. And that's when I started to know I had a problem. Was like, wow, I really fit in here. Like I knew I had a problem. And because I was just all about it all the time, and Zach Galifianakis was out there shooting a submarine movie called Below, and so I stayed with him for a couple days, and we went out one night, and he was with the other actors in the movie were these like pretty schmancy British actor types, and so we went to all these underground British clubs, and I got really fucking drunk, and at about 3 a.m. somewhere in London, I tried to hit on Bjork.
All right.
I got it.
That headline works in tabloid format.
Yeah.
With an exclamation point.
Yeah.
I tried to hit on Bjork.
I tried to hit on Bjork.
Okay, can you, what was your first move?
My first move was staring at her for an hour and a half.
Right?
That's actually good because she's fascinated by fire hydrants.
She is.
Probably mythologized you.
Yes, whenever she speaks, this weird subtitle with a brush script font appears on her back. And so, I was basically just like this. I must have felt like it was like 10 minutes, but it really was like an hour and a half. And so Zach and all of his smashy British actor friends were like, yeah, is it all right if we go? And I'm like, no, man, I'm totally going to make my move. I'm going to hit on Bjork. And so she was talking to some other people, and then finally, they were ready to leave, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I walk up to her, and I tap her on the shoulder, and she turns around like this, just looking all Bjorky, and I'm like I take the breath in to go to ask her a question, and she sees me and immediately just turns around and scampers off. She may have disappeared in a pile of dust or been swallowed by the earth. I'm not 100% sure.
She's from Iceland. She knows when she's going to get puked on.
I don't know. She's turned into a pile of fire salts, and then I don't know what happened.
So you never even had a conversation.
Never even had a conversation with her, and it was such a failure. And then so it's like she immediately started talking to some other guy. So we all I have to walk with all these people who I'd been making wait forever for this utter moment of failure, and we end up going back and hanging out. And then I was sitting on the bed, and Zach videotaped me being really bummed that I totally struck out with Bjork. And I'm like,
are you saying her by name in the?
Yeah, I'm saying her by name, and I'm like,
Bjork.
and then she, I think I said and then this other guy showed up. He totally cock Bjorked me, which to try, I really said that, but I was genuinely bummed that in my drunken state of mind that I had this moment that was a total I would have had any.
Well, this
chance.
brings to mind. This is something that I constantly want to ask, and I probably the coolest sober person I've ever talked to in my life up here. So this is a perfect time to ask this. I hear that story. Perfect example. I go, so why aren't you still drinking? What's wrong with that?
You gotta fucking get back on the Bjork saddle and fucking.
Well, I mean,
there's other Bjorks.
Because I talked to other people, and they go yeah, I woke up in a puddle of blood, and I kept doing that. Third time a day. Yeah, you gotta stop waking up in puddles of blood.
Well, no, yeah.
You get a dark one. Don't think of it as a comedy show. Give us a second one, and then I'll let you go to dinner with
with Bjork.
A dark one. It wasn't just that there was it wasn't any specifically that any one thing happened. It's just when I look back at what my life was like back then, I had been on MTV in the 90s, and there was this sort of unspoken curse, well, if you're on MTV, that's it. You probably won't do anything else after that. Because a lot of people didn't. And the business was less forgiving back then for crossing over. If you were VJ, if you're on MTV, it was sort of like being what people consider being an internet personality now, and someday that'll change. Or it's in the process of changing. And so, I was chunky and blotchy, and I wasn't working. And I think I just kind of looked at the sort of here's the landscape of my life. I can keep doing this, which will be fine, like I've never had to go to the hospital, well, except for one time. I jumped over a wall and like fucked up my foot. Like that was it. And I was also fat and I had these leather pants. It was really embarrassing. You should never wear leather. No one.
Were you fat and in leather pants when you tried to pick up Bjork?
No, yes, I was, as a matter of fact. And I think
Jeff put it together.
And
Leave
you know
it to
what?
Jeff.
You know what? I think in my drunken mind, I'm just like Jim Morrison. Like this fucking fat guy with leather pants. One day, some hot girl's gonna blow me in an elevator, and that never happened. That never, ever happened. And so I think I just, truthfully, like sincerely, I just kind of got to a point. It wasn't anything specifically bad happened, but just a period of my life was just sort of like a dark ages where nothing really moved forward and it just kind of kept getting worse and worse. And I just thought, right when I was about 30, 31, I was like, I can stay on this path. And that's fine. I'm not gonna. I don't black out drunk. But nothing else really substantial is probably really gonna happen in my life. But I also realized, wow, I have this crazy ability to focus on something. Like I'm clearly addicted to alcohol. So what if I could refocus that? So like there was this idea of maybe I could take this demon that I had and figure out how to spin it in a way where I could use it instead of denying that I had it. So I did, I
go on.
Okay. As Jeff goes to the vodka bucket. And so, I did. And then when I quit, then I realized like, oh yeah, I had all these problems that I wasn't dealing with. And then, there was a little period where I had to, fix the brain.
Every conversation I have with people, I go like, first question is, are you an alcoholic? I can't say yes fast enough. The reason is because I caught onto the game. If you say no, you're an alcoholic.
Right. Oh yeah. Some people will like, oh, you're in denial, huh? You're like, but you didn't even give me the.
Yeah. I just click the blue wire right away. I don't care if it blows up or diffuses the bomb, but I'm not gonna stand there and go. And they're going. It sounds like an alcoholic to me. Because 85% of everyone is a dick.
Yeah.
85% of all drunks are dicks, and 85% of all sober people are dicks. And you meet less sober people than you meet drunks. So if you're drunk and you meet a sober person, 85% chance you're going to have a fucking bad time because you don't meet that many, and 85% of them are dicks. And a sober dick is somebody who gets as much identity from being sober as a drunk gets out of being drunk. Like, you met them when you were drunk. You met them when they were drunk. Like, they alcohol was their life. I'm a drunk. I love being drunk. Let's drink. And then they find Jesus, or they get sober, and then it's like, I'm sober. Are you sober? I'm sober. I'm sober.
Drunk people talk like this. Sober people talk like
But I never knew you were sober. I met you. I walked into your life, pissed on your stage. Yep. Raped your dog. Did a shot of Fernet Branca. Walked out, and then someone else told me, he's sober.
Oh, but I don't really. It never bothers me because I don't. I'm definitely not someone who looks around everyone and they're like, oh, that person should probably. Like, I have my problems. Other people have their own path. I just don't fucking. Like that. That's just how it is for me. I just don't tell people. I don't judge people that way.
All right. How do we end this interview?
How do you judge people?
All right. Do you want to plug anything, or you don't need to? You're King Kong.
No. I'm just glad that you're doing the show here weekly now. I mean, it's really fun, and I love for anyone who's listening. 4 people support that. Yeah. But I love for anyone who's listening to this podcast. You should really know, like, Dan walks the line when people are lining up, gets suggestions, talks to people. Like, there's a very communal thing. Are you enjoying your time here? It must be nice.
It's therapy. It's
nice, right?
I won't do therapy. I can't do it.
What do you not like about therapy?
It's dumb people. Oh shit!
Holy shit! Mothra just flew on stage.
Flying cockroach. Oh, it's a flying cockroach.
A cockroach the size of a hubcap just hit Dan in the chest.
The hair stood on the back of my head.
I thought somebody threw a frisbee.
No,
at you.
I thought a group of therapists got busted. I thought I was going to get fucking murdered by the middle of the bell curve.
A pterodactyl.
I thought that people with the minimal requirements for degrees and judging people.
You called a demographic stupid and a giant animal came and attacked you.
That's an argument for shamanism, if anything.
Actually,
I didn't say shamanism was bullshit. Whoever sent that moth up here.
Snake!
I like to think that was the drunk fairy.
Dad, you tell him, Dad. You tell him. I'll have what he's
But it's undoing ironically.
Jesus Christ! No, this thing is not dead. Can we kill it?
All right, we crushed it. Someone crushed it.
A hero in our audience stepped forward and slayed the dragon.
Quickly, men!
Holy shit!
Quickly! Please!
Greatest adventure.
Fetch me a toothpick. We must place its head on a spike to warn its compatriots.
Good.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Dude, you fucking destroyed.
But didn't even flinch. Just got up and just dispatched it.
Now,
Emily's coming up with a napkin like it's 50s radio. Like
now my question is, what if that was Bjork in fairy form? It was like,
I have been summoned to somebody has spoken my name 3 times.
and then she shows up, and then blam.
She had her chance when you were fat and in leather. A real fairy would have seen the prince that you were going to become.
That's right. She didn't know.
Let's thank Chris Hardwick.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dan Harmon. Thank you, Jeff Davis.
Hey, Spencer.
Yo, what's up, man? Catch.
Whoa, good throw.
Yeah, man, I've just been so excited about sports and football and fantasy football.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, here, catch.
It
good
hit me,
catch.
but I caught it.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to. That's good. Like, you know what I love more than regular football? It's the fantasy of it.
Right. Well, listen up. Here, catch.
Whoa, good throw.
If you love fantasy football, then you need to try my new favorite app, Draft. It's weekly fantasy football. Here, I'm going long, but not like the other guys.
I'm throwing it longer.
I dropped it.
Is that it? Can you do live snake drafts like in your season-long fantasy football play with your friends on that app?
Yeah, with other people, just like in your season-long league. Here's how it works. It's a draft. I think the ball went down the drain. It's a draft that lasts for 1 week and there's no management. Just set it and forget it.
I'm doing that Cabbage Patch dance. Even though we lost the ball, I'm pretending that's a touchdown. Drafts start every couple minutes, so you can join one right now. And the best part, you can play for cold hard cash, Spencer.
Whoa. Do they start at just $1?
Yeah, there's no salary caps. You can play in a real live snake draft just like you play with your friends in season-long league. I think we mentioned that. Here is the kicker, Spencer. And by kicker, I mean the portion that's highlighted that it's required we read. Come and join me on Draft today. Download the app anytime. Just search Draft in your app store and join a game in minutes, or play right from your computer on playdraft.com. Whatever you want. Take the next one.
All right. I dropped, wait.
Oh, you dropped the ball?
I can't find the ball, but it's fine because, we could just play football on this app.
Right.
For a limited time only. All new players get a free entry into a draft when you make your first deposit, but you have to use my promo code Harmontown. That's right, play a real money game for free just using my promo code Harmontown on your first deposit on draft.
I think there's a clown down in this sewer holding the football and beckoning to us, promising that we will all float.
Will we?
Yeah, especially if we search for Draft in the App Store or go to playdraft.com and play free with the promo code Harmontown.
Draft. You'll float too.
Thank you, Chris. That was delightful.
I can't think of a better closer. I didn't know. I don't know how to close it. I warned him in the green room. I don't know how to do interviews, but please come up because I want to tell people how cool you are. For all I know, he could be a rapist. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I know 2 things about him, and they suggest that he's like a knight in shining armor. He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, I see right through it.
I won't listen to. No, you caught out immediately. You zeroed in on the leather pants thing. You're like, what were you wearing? He's telling the story, and
I would guess that if you're really drunk and you're flirting with Bjork and you're at a low point in your life, you probably also are fat and have leather pants on.
It takes a Jeff to notice these things. We all just heard,
It takes a Jeff.
All we heard is that Bjork's a bitch. Anyways.
No.
No, he's cool.
Also, real quickly, that Chris Hardwick section of Harmontown was brought to you by
Adidas. Nike. Yes, all of Harmontown is brought to you by the top-of-the-line, comfort-fitting, state-of-the-art shoe.
Yeah, strap on the smooth comfort and easy walkability of Adidas, you pieces of shit at Nike. We're doing this for free for Adidas until you pony up some money.
We're inverting the advertising paradigm. Nike, pay us money to make us stop telling you that Adidas is the most perfect shoe you will ever wear in your fucking life.
It's like putting your foot into a uterus of comfort.
Who's working for who?
Pick up a phone, Nike, you douchebags.
Adidas isn't paying us a dime. We just decided to fucking love them. Nike.
Yeah, we're gonna strong arm Nike into
it might cost $1 to make us stop advertising Adidas, unless Puma gives us 10.
Anybody can beat Greg Proops and get Spotify or the
Adam and Eve, Audible.com, yawn. What is this? This feels terrible with Aaron McGathy. One of these bullshit. Yeah, it's new and noteworthy, but I don't see it in the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't see it in the hard numbers. This feels terrible with Aaron McGathy. It's new, it's noteworthy. What does that mean?
Our show is the Adidas of podcasts. Until further notice.
You hear that, you Nike cocksuckers?
You're throwing money away.
There's other techniques we could try next week. Like Nike next week. We're gonna start coming at you from different angles. We're gonna start saying we like Nike, and we're gonna have pillowcases on our heads. We're gonna have swastikas on our foreheads.
I would say as a podcast, let's do something less visual.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. We're going to say that was Nike's idea.
Dan, we're going to die broke thinking like that, man. Come on.
All right. Sorry. I've never been a Madison Avenue type. Confession. So Chris Hardwick was very, very gracious to tell us about his former life as a fun-loving drunkable. He confessed some things. He told us things that he was embarrassed about.
I've been going through the stack of audience submissions. I pulled a few aside. There's some really dark ones in here.
Do you want to talk about? I only have. I'll read down the list of things that I had on my list of things to talk about. Adidas.
Right. Check.
Confessions.
Check.
Mustard butts a lot.
Nope. Yeah. Well, that's a quickie. We were at a bar. We were at the drawing room, and Dan was talking about like people in high school that are like if you have a silly name, right? Like some people that
I was illustrating the point that if you had a silly name, and this is one of those things that we've talked at In Point. We've talked about this on the in the show. So if any of you have been here, don't feel cheated. Now that we're podcasting,
we're breaking out the chestnuts.
Edit out point. If any of you wanted to just yell out, "I hate Mexicans," you should have done it in there. Now it's on the record. I don't know what that means. I don't know why I'm so racist.
Why are you so racist?
Why is everything about race?
You're fascinated by race.
Because I was brought up, to not be racist, and I think it's something that people care about. We're obsessed about it.
You marvel at Mexicans and Asians and black people.
I think because it's okay when you go bowling, your job is to.
Oh, here we go.
The reason I'm fascinated with race, I think. This is my defense of my fascination with race and racism. When you go bowling, you never see black people. No, I'm kidding. That's what you thought I was going to say, isn't it? No, when you go bowling, there's pins down there, and the goal of bowling is like you take a ball and you roll it. The reason why it's a sport and not just a thing that you do is because of these gutters. The gutters represent this thing. It's like by default, what happens is your ball rolls into the gutter and you don't hit a single pin. So you have to like thread this needle with bowling. And with communication and with culture and stuff, I said with our perception of what race is and what racism is, we're so obsessed with it. And I'm always fascinated by the gutter. I'm fascinated by the fact that, if it goes too far to the left, it just goes in there. And that's the default response. And I don't know, is the guy that owns the bowling alley the right guy? Is the guy that's making all the money off of us threading this needle, is he laughing all the way to the bank? And is that the right bank?
Where are you going with this?
If that's not interesting to you guys, you deserve Jeff Davis's Mars.
I didn't bring it up.
I will take the time to tell you that.
Who's the hero in that bowling story?
The person that's bowling is just any person at all. It's a human being.
And what's the gutter?
The gutter represents the fact that if the ball. All right.
Holy shit.
All right.
Rob Schraub has become downright mutinous.
Yeah. I'm telling you something. I was going to say talk to me after the show, but don't. Talk to me before next week's show.
Let's all go bowling. That sounds really wild.
Or pledge $2,500 to the Anomalisa Kickstarter and go drinking with me and Dino, and I'll tell you all about the bowling metaphor, which I just landed on. I just made it up now. It's fucking perfect. I'm onto something. I'm going to write a book, and I'm not going to share with any of you. The profits. You're not going to get a free copy. You're not going to get anything. Because you didn't support me. You backed a hooligan and my friend.
And also, that was brought to you by Nike.
My thoughts on racism are brought to you by Nike. A shitty shoe. In a dark world, a crappy, cynical,
a shared
horrible
shoe that
world.
Stinks, and you have some guy has to spray disinfectant into it.
You put your foot in it, and I think there's a mouse in there. Nike. Bullshit.
The guy that stepped on the Bjork ferry, cockroach, Adidas.
Just don't do it.
All right, now what is your beef with me and Mars? We're talking about the curiosity as
let's do this quick. And believe me, I don't. There's been some contention now has erupted between you and me, but I want you to tell people, because I'm interested in your Jeff. I'm going to stop me if I'm wrong. Jeff has become convinced since his tour of the JPL facility at NASA,
right,
where he thinks, like as in most of Jeff's stories, those of you who are hardcore Harmenians. You know that when Jeff tells a story, there's a theme. Don't interrupt me.
You're talking about me. Why would I?
I'm gonna make up a story and try to fill it to the Jeff Davis template of storytelling. Jeff goes to a laundromat and he puts a shirt in the washing machine. And a beautiful Cuban woman is like watching him, and she comes over and she asks him why he's putting his shirt in the washing machine in quite that way. And he explains, I don't know. I thought that the shirt needed to be cleaned first. And she puts a hand on his arm and says, "Thank you." And then she takes him back and introduces her family, and then she just fucks him blue. Jeff has these stories. I don't think they're false. I think these things happen to Jeff. Jeff falls into these adventures that kind of revolve around his personality. People trust him and they open up to him and they want him to like them and things. So Jeff went to the JPL facility, Jet Propulsion Lab. Is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
Seems a little uninventive for rocket scientists.
I was invited by a friend to go to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and it was a tour from a guy that works, and I won't get too specific about his job, because I think that he was going to get in trouble for saying too much. So suffice to say, I go on a tour, and we get to there's a tour that everybody can go see, and you can see a little mock-up of the Voyager probe and Cassini and stuff like that, and it's very cool. I like space travel stuff, and we're going kind of a little bit behind the scenes. He's like, this is not kind of on the regular tour because I work on such and such a program, and we get to go see the rooms where they're building what is now called Curiosity, that I think last night actually successfully landed on Mars, and very cool. And back then they called the Mars Science Laboratory, like another uncreative.
And these people are real Shakespeare's over there.
And so we saw it, and it was just this big, gigantic thing about the size of a Prius.
and it's got a big, meaningful, heavy, like backhoe shovel on it, and giant wheels. About 10 to 12 inches across. Like this thing was mean. Like the Rovers were the size of a coffee table. We're going back there with a purpose. Like there's some big, robust.
Like the previous one have little arms on it. It's like we don't know if we'll find a bottle of wine, so there's a corkscrew. We might have to kill a moth, so there's a little moth there. Like we don't know what's going to happen. There's wheels on top and bottom. This thing was a bulldozer. We're sending a bulldozer to Mars.
This thing's going digging and analyzing, and it's very intense, and the people are very nervous. So now that thing that I got to see a little peek at, it's also very cool and very human. It made me so proud of humanity. Is laying on this titanium chassis with these big wheels in the corner and this big shovel with just a good old proper crescent wrench. Just some dude's wrench. Snap-on tools, the Adidas of tools.
You hear that, Nike?
Yeah.
You pieces of shit.
Cowards. So it was very cool, and so we're walking around the hallways. I'm talking to this guy, scientist, and he works. He's just about my age and a little younger, actually. No, about my age, and he works and he flies spaceships and stuff. It's very cool. And I said, "Were you there when the cameras turned on?"
He doesn't fly spaceships.
Huh? He does.
What?
I can't say which ones. I don't want to get him in trouble.
What? He gets in trouble if they tell him what spaceship he flies?
The guy,
what is this, Battlestar Galactica?
I'll tell you. Look,
there's Cylons?
This is not an exaggeration. This is not yellow journalism here. I was walking to the thing, and there's all these pictures of all from Spirit and Opportunity, the two rovers, right?
Oh, you mean he controls spaceships?
Yeah. He
like with a joystick.
He sends math that flies probes and things around.
Okay, all right.
Around,
I thought you meant he was like Starbuck or something. Like
no. He doesn't sit in them.
Okay,
We fly.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was raised in the 70s.
We fly them remotely. These things, but and maybe one day there'll actually be people on Mars, because of what I think was going on in this conversation. I said, like, so when you were there. And when the cameras turned on and the first images were beamed back to Earth, and you didn't know if the thing was going to work, but you guys are all scientists. You guys watch sci-fi movies. Like you clearly all sci-fi, enthusiasts. When that camera turned on, weren't you all kind of holding hands and thinking, like, what if we just saw like a footprint or a guy running by or a Snickers wrapper or some stuff, you don't know what you're going to see up there. And he goes, yeah, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't the case. I said, so what did you see? And he just kind of his eyebrows went up and he just kind of blushed a little bit. I go, did you see something cool? He's like, it got kind of weird. And I go, what did you see? He's like, look at it. And he shook his head no, did the throat cut thing, and pointed at the ceiling. I'm like, what's in the ceiling? He's like, there's microphones. They're listening to us right now. I'm like, what did you fucking see? And he's like, stop it. I go, can we go outside? He's like, just stop it. Fucking stop it.
There's a little place next to the dumpster where they smoke cigarettes where there's no cameras.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, when the Martian dick goes in your soup,
I'm like,
it's like Men in Black.
Did you see a tree? Did you see did you find diamonds? What the fuck is going on up there? And he was real bummed out, and he walked away from me, and his face had turned like plaid. He was like really bummed out and nervous about some shit. He's like, I could lose my job. I can't talk about these missions. I was like, oh, fucking hell. So we walk outside, and I'm like, what's my friend Jerry that took me, he's like, dude, what did you say to so-and-so? I'm like, he was the guy that blew it. And he's like, yeah, he's all bummed out. He really wants you to stop talking about that. So then we go to this building and we see this thing, and they're building a giant Prius with a huge backhoe shovel on it. Like, they're going fucking digging.
They're going digging.
Yeah.
Which I agree with that.
Yeah. So
if you send up a little thing with a little brush on it, and then the next thing you send is a shovel,
yes.
you brushed something.
I don't think they found little people. I don't think they found like a subterranean colony that they're going to.
What race would they be?
Huh? Martians.
I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with race.
I don't mean to bore you, assholes. I don't want to interrupt your fucking radio lab. But I think it's fucking interesting that anyways.
Well, you told me that you thought I was being conspiratorial and overly imaginative. I don't think they found. Here's what I think. I think there's ice under the surface that they have to actually really dig for, because I think they found that, and I think they're going to find. What I'm hoping they find is evidence of like microbial life or something like that, where some kind of life maybe still exists, or at least at one point did. Because it wouldn't be life as we know it, because the atmosphere is so low, it would be irradiated and stuff like that. I think they're going to go up there and maybe find out that we're not the only rock spinning around.
It just is important to get that American flag on the moon, you know.
Well, yeah.
Having an American shuttle come back with a rock that has a little fossil of like a little amoeba that's basically going to look the same as an Earth amoeba, but it was on Mars 17 billion years ago. That's a big deal. It'll forever be. It's like hegemony, you know. It's like we're.
But it would be cool though if they went back and we found out, because we don't know what's up there. What if there was a little tiny underground people like
tiny underground people?
And they see this giant retro rocket thing coming down at the size of the Empire State Building as far as they are.
How amazing would that be if like everything, you broke up with your girlfriend, if like Verizon's like trading on the NASDAQ, people are shooting people left and right, and everything's going right and wrong, and countries are, whoa, China's dollar's above the euro and all this stuff, and then they just dig a thing and there's little people on Mars, just little dudes in loincloths like Kevin Pollak and Willow. Oh, hello! I live on Mars! Oh, hello! Come inside! Have a cup of Martian juice!
And that's why
everything is just like, fuck it. Like every guy on every New York stoop, like dropping a girl off after dinner is like, oh, can I have a kiss? And she's like, I don't know, I'm not committed. It's like, fuck it, life on Mars. Like just everything changes. Like so.
I wonder, that one, was it Spirit or Opportunity, the one that broke down up there? I want to find out that it got Gulliver traveled like that. They tied it down and they're like, what are these things? And then like we keep sending these robots up, and then we find diamonds. The reason we're going back there is they found a big diamond mine there, and then we're just going to send these little robot prospectors up there, and they're all going to be alone. They're all going to have beards after a while.
Everything turns into Deadwood up there. It's just because they found basically let's say 8,000 pounds of diamonds, because it takes like $7 billion to ship them back and forth.
Yeah.
But in the end, you make $1,100. And that's more money than NASA's made ever. So everything becomes fucking Deadwood up there.
There's robot whorehouses and stuff like that. Al Swearingen, you cocksucker.
I love that they grow beards automatically. The robots just have beards because that's you need to.
One beard is insane, like Humphrey Bogart from Treasure of the Sierra Madre. You know,
All right. Well, this is the closest we've come to having a thematic show on Confessions. That was just a random burst of technology. If you're listening at home, edit it yourself. We talked about Mars. But I want to like we people are so good. If you go down a line of people, I'm convinced, and I'm not pandering. I think that Harmontown audiences are the best audiences in the world, in the history of anything. I'm not. For those of you listening, I'm not prompting them to say that, to do that. But because I walk down the line and I'm pushing the envelope of what we can ask of them. I said, because we asked them, ask us questions about your job and all this stuff. This week I said, write down a confession. And I'm going to try to. I want to try to think of a confession just to get the ball rolling. Hardwick came up. He's very gracious. Because we need to be clear, we need to trust each other. I don't know if we've proven since we started podcasting that Harmontown's a safe place for human beings. If you've done something that you're ashamed of, and you're sorry about it, maybe that should be resolvable. I'm trying to think of something I'm really embarrassed about. Jeff and I were talking about like just lies that we told teachers and stuff like that. We were pretty criminal-minded kids.
I was a really bad person.
I think when you're up to the age of 18, you're really a sociopath automatically, because everyone teaches you when you're young because they're so scared of you. Because when you're 18, the secret is you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can beat anyone up. I mean, think about it. Like we draft them into our armies. Like when you're 18, that's when you're old enough to hold a gun and charge at another nation's 18-year-olds. Like we are scared of 18-year-olds, or we wouldn't use them to kill people.
We found a place to hide them.
And because we're scared of them, we tell them very, very clearly, like you need to keep it cool, brother. Like you need to, like your reward awaits you later if you learn how to act properly. I do think that like young people But not because not because human beings are bad when they're younger, but because we put so much emphasis on training. Young people are sociopaths because what they learn for the first 18 years of their life is that the reason not to do things is that you'll get caught and you'll get in trouble. There's no emphasis. You have to kind of self-learn, and I think only 15% of us do learn later. I shouldn't do that because I'd be an asshole. Most people spend their lives going, I wish I could do that, but I'd get caught. And that's why we're fascinated with mafia movies and serial killers and stuff like that, because we're like, what if I could? You all have it within you, and hopefully we captured some. I want to hear the dark stuff.
There's some dark ones in here. I mean, there's some goodies.
I don't know that I could absolve you of it, okay? I mean, but could a priest ever? Could anybody ever? Can you ever? Could a therapist ever? But also, hearing it anonymously, you might maybe you might save somebody else here tonight. So let's hear a couple of highlights.
It's hard to think.
And we'll comment or not, but maybe we can barrel through a bunch.
Right. Okay.
Like a fireworks display. What if they just pop off? All of you are in this room.
I want to save that one because it's about race, so I'm going to save that one.
Too distracting.
Okay. Somebody writes, my first attempt at sex was my first kiss. It didn't work because I didn't know female anatomy and was just pushing my boner into her pubes.
Okay, that's not a crime. That's
called every.
That's just like Marco Polo saying, "I thought Chinese people were wearing lanterns. I didn't know." He didn't know.
That's how I still do it.
Yeah. Actually, if you keep doing that long enough, it'll work. So.
All right.
That's basically how it works.
Let's see. I don't really like my sister.
You're already absolved because the fact that that's a confession means you pretend you do, and that's your job as a brother. That's the best you can do.
I ended a 4-year relationship via email. Yeah, the crowd has spoken on that.
I can't. This is why I didn't want to do questions, because I'm not good at answering them. I'm not a life master.
Well, I would say don't try to give advice so much as just put yourself in their shoes. Like for instance, ran over the neighbor's cat and didn't care. Hate cats.
All right, now we're getting deeper. Actually, that's amazing.
Yeah, we got some haymakers.
That's a good confession because they don't bother to. They're not expressing remorse. Like some of these, you can go, "Oh, you confessed it, so it's problem solved." This person still hates cats.
Yeah, unrepentant.
It feels bad, like a serial killer saying, "Put a rubber band around my nuts, I will kill again." And they do that, like rapists and stuff. They go, castrate me, I'm begging you, because that's tough. Thank you.
I wish I hadn't pushed my cousin down the hill in a dog crate.
That sounds like a story and ended in a terrible mishap. You won't have the chance to do that again. You're fine.
Here's a goodie. Here's a goodie. Pretty sure I have an STD. Parentheses. Tame one, no symptoms, but haven't told my past partners and probably won't tell my current one. How do you?
All right, well...
Yeah. In an email, says the young lady in the front row.
In an email. Well, should we stop and talk about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not Dr. Drew. We didn't. It's like a guy ran over a cat and doesn't give a shit.
Pretty sure I have an STD, a tame one.
He means not AIDS.
Not AIDS,
but he doesn't not mean.
But he says no symptoms. So first, if
he means herpes.
It means herpes.
I think
if you have herpes, you have symptoms. You know it.
No, not necessarily. That's a big problem. That's why
he found out.
That's why 1 out of 3 people in this room have herpes. Is it because guys are dipshits? Wait, why are you raising your hand?
I'm saying it's a he only based on the handwriting, but that could be wrong. I feel like this is a guy.
But it's guys. Guys don't show as much symptomatically. So guys, I'm just saying to you, if you're 19 years old, you're here, you're coming to Harmontown. This is good advice. Whatever. Aside from this guy, I'm just saying like that herpes is like it's a little bit of an epidemic, and it's partially because guys carry it around, and you need to get checked and stuff. That's all. That's my Dr. Drew segment.
It's funny that you said how do you tell somebody, and she in the front row said via email. This this written confession ends with a frowny face emoticon. So I think you're probably right about that.
I don't know. What do we say to that guy? We say you got to tell.
First of all, you do. You
got to tell your current partner, because every time you put your dick in her, you're putting a gun to her head and playing Russia. It's not.
No, you have to take your medicine on that. If you have an STD, say it.
The guy that ran over his cat, who's confessing that he doesn't give a fuck about whether cats live or die.
He probably has AIDS.
He doesn't own a veterinarian hospital. As a person who's having sex with women constantly, you hate cats and you own a veterinarian hospital. So you need to put a little sign on your thing that says also may have herpes. You got to talk to the girl. Here's a better solution. Have her give you hand jobs until you get checked. I tried to make it easy for him. I don't know. I'm trying. Is that?
That's a toughie, man.
You gotta go fucking get checked and get up. Also, herpes is hard to.
But he admits, or let's just say he. It could be
I just injected herpes. I just assumed that. I've created that.
Yeah. Because
he didn't say herpes.
If it's chlamydia, go to Planned Parenthood. Take a pill. It's gone. That's the end of it.
Not that anyone was asking for advice. You were confessing stuff. But sometimes when someone says, my dick has a tick on it, what should I do with it? Well, stop sticking it in, people. Because
you're not pretending to give advice here necessarily. This is about getting things off our chest, right?
Yeah, but when you go to a therapist and you go like, well, my parents hit me, that's why I think I'm a shitty writer. The first thing they say is, are they still hitting you? No, I'm 39. And they go, I know, I just have to ask.
Also, we're also presuming that people want to be anonymous about these. If any of you, if I read one of yours and you want to talk about it, you want to talk it out. Then
Herbie Dick doesn't want to talk to anybody.
What about this one who writes, I've never tasted my own cum. Stand up. Anybody? Never tasted your own cum? Rob, I know it's not you.
That's not a confession.
It's not you. All right. No, that's a confession. They wrote it down.
Tastes like salt water.
Salt water?
Yeah, it tastes like salt water. What do you mean, what the hell? It tastes like, what do you think it tastes like?
No, mine tastes like root beer.
It smells like paper mache, but
I feel like this
it tastes like salt water.
I feel like this is dangerous, but I'm going to read it anyway. I regret being racist at the age of 5. After a black girl ate my purple crayon, I had to be convinced by my mom that, quote, not all black kids eat crayons.
I will say,
which is why we're going to Mars to solve this.
I will say, if you're gonna be racist, that's probably the best stereotype.
Yeah. Keep it high concept.
Yeah. Then they're just Muppets. Hey, keep your purple crayons away from those people.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt Dan's drunken ramblings. I'm Jeff Davis from Harmontown, here to talk about Warby Parker glasses. Do you need glasses? Do you wear glasses? Is your eyesight all fucked from playing Bubble Witch or whatever the stupid app game you play? My eyes are just dying from these stupid games. You stare at it and then you try to look up and you can't see shit. I'm 43 and my eyes are dying because of Bubble Witch. God damn it. Warby Parker has glasses that are really cool. They're kind of vintagey, retro-y kind of stuff, and they look great, and they're cheap as shit. They're less expensive than glasses generally are, which is dumb because people need them. Or maybe you don't need glasses and you just want to look professorial and kind of groovy. Warby Parker makes it very easy to order glasses. They have a free home try-on program where you order 5 pairs of glasses, you try them on for 5 days. There's no obligation to buy them. It ships for free, and you can ship them back for free. You go to warbyparker.com/Harmon to order your free home try-ons today. The glasses start at $95, which is cheap. That includes prescription lenses, anti-glare and anti-scratch coatings, and every pair you buy, another pair is distributed to someone in need. I'm hoping that it's refugees. I mean, because Syrians, holy shit, they need glasses. I did it. I ordered them. It comes so easy. Boom. There's a box. There's a bunch of glasses in there. You pick the ones you like. You look in the mirror and you go, these suck, these rule. You pick the ones that you like. Also, if you don't have any personal awareness or any sense of identity, after you get your glasses from warbyparker.com/Harmon, you can also go to the Warby Parker app from the iTunes App Store, which allows you to quickly take photos wearing all the frames, stitch it into a video, and share it with friends and family to help you pick a winner, because you don't know what you like. You need other people's opinions because you're a spineless ooze. warbyparker.com/Harmon. They're glasses. They're cheap. They're awesome. Fuck you. Back to Harmon.
People. Well, again, this is another one. These are adorable confessions. So so far, the cat in the driveway guy and the herpy dick or herpy titty, we don't know who this person was.
I hate to fan the flames. I one time told my Asian friend to open her eyes, only to realize they were already open.
I was like, is Andrew Dice Clay in the audience? Is Bobby Slayton? No, if that really happened, then you were probably a kid, and whatever. This happens. Little kids are fascinated with each other's differences and things. Like, you touch each other's hair, you touch each other, you look at, you go like, oh, why are your fingers different and all this stuff. But it doesn't really register on the level that we perceive. Race is an artificial construct. People go, oh, you have freckles, you have red hair, you're taller than me, you're shorter than me, all that stuff. And what we call race like blends into that shit until our parents get involved, and it's passed down from their parents. And anyways, the obsession is trickling out. I am 39 years old. I'm talking to a bunch of 25-year-olds. You guys are already bored with me like being obsessed with race, which is great. It's eroding away. I like it.
I mean, because if I walk onto a playground these days and I look at these kids playing with each other, it's different now because some kids are different than other ones. Some have different abilities. Some have, some maybe are better looking than others. Maybe some get higher grades.
Why are you going around playgrounds looking for better looking kids?
I'll tell you why. Because I will fuck a kid. That's my confession.
Now that's
Dan.
a confession.
Yeah.
Especially if he says he does it, he'll do it again.
They're just smooth. Smooth. Delicious. I was fucking. This is not a confession. This is maybe it is. I don't know. When I was 12. I was on a Highway to Heaven episode. And for those of you who don't know, thank you, Rob. Thank you for one person that's 40 in here. The TV show of Michael Landon where he played an angel and came down to Earth to solve people's little problems from their little workaday.
He helped them out. He was like the Hulk, but without turning into the Hulk.
Yeah. Less rope belts and less flipped over cars. But I played a kid that went to college too young and was being bossed around by my football playing roommate who was using me to steal computer the answers to tests and things like that. And so I turned 32 or 3 maybe, and I'm at my computer and somebody sends me a link to something like, hey, check it out. And it's all these screen captures of me when I was 12 on Highway to Heaven, but it's all the pictures of me with my shirt off. I'm like, I didn't put that together. That's wow. That's all these pictures of me on this TV show. I'll save that image. And I look up at the URL at the top of the thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna erase all the information of the JPEG and the thing to find out what is this website? Pedophile website. And then there's a link to blogs. It's called Forever 14, if I remember correctly. Yeah, guys, check it out. Yeah. Search for Jeffrey Brian Davis shirt off.
Forever 14, though, raises all kinds of. Do they? Well, do pedophiles consider themselves younginated by?
It's pictures of adult actors when they were young. So there's Corey Feldman and Will Wheaton, and it's all these pictures of actors that were acting when they were young, and it's generally pictures with them in a bathing suit or with their shirt off or wet. It's raining out and the clothes are sticking to them.
No matter how old these people get.
Yeah.
We will bring them to you in their prime. That's the Forever 14 guarantee.
Fucking rough. And I was sitting there.
And you know what, Nike? If you don't fork over some money, we're going to promote forever14.com and tell them Nike sent it. Put in discount code Nike at forever14.com unless they give us some money.
But there's a link to the forum part of it, which is like conversations about it, and they had stopped in like 2002, so like, or I don't know what it was, like 98. They'd stopped for like years before.
Right around your appearance on Jump Street.
Yeah.
And your stubble came in.
Exactly, yeah. Past my prime. And there was this conversations, and they were like, I think you could probably go to jail for any of the things they were saying. Because it's like, he's like the boy next door. I'd like to have him come over and mow my lawn. I'll teach him a thing or two. And I just felt this hand, like it's like I felt the sensation of like someone walking up behind you and putting a cold, clammy hand on your shoulder. And I can't imagine what it's like to be a woman. No man possibly could, because it's too.
Oh God, because they have a hole where their dick's supposed to be. I'm sorry, I gotta
take it easy. Take it easy, Nike. But like women walking through a parking structure at night, or getting in an elevator with guys, like that. I felt for a moment, it was like that's. Like I just felt violated by everything at once, and I felt very vulnerable and crazy. Like it's just the worst.
Yeah.
However, little boys.
Yeah, well, okay. All right, well, so let's barrel through some of these more of these confessions, I think. I don't know.
I look at porn on my work computer.
Not a confession. If you're getting away with it, you're a hero.
I wish I didn't sit through every episode of The Cape. All right. Meanwhile, someone else in the same room. I've never watched Firefly.
Hey, you know what? Neither have I.
Oh.
Yeah, drink it in. There's my confession. Megan Gans wrote that line in that Community episode when Troy and Abed revealed themselves to be Firefly fans. I've never actually seen it, but
I've never watched Community. This one might be the most revealing and shocking confession of them all, just because in its simplicity. I've hurt a lot of people, but I feel worst about not feeling bad about any of it.
Well, yeah, that's you're a sociopath, right? And you know that, and you're afraid of getting caught, and that's the only thing that drives you.
What's the most shameful thing you could say? What's something that you would just be like?
I think it's closely related to that. I think the most shameful thing I could say is how little I care about other people's lives. You know, like I was in the bar tonight and I saw that there was another fucking shooting. And I don't even know. It's like we made comments about it and we talked politically and psychologically about it.
Dan and I met before the show, and it's that the shooting in the Sikh temple. Was it Wisconsin? Was it? Yeah, and it's like, just hot on the heels of that last asshole in the movie theater. And
it's my first response, of course. I'm from Wisconsin. I immediately and then we're talking about media coverage. We're talking about whether or not they should have given so much attention to the Joker guy, and it's just me. We didn't. I don't know what we're supposed to do. Get off our bar stools and run out in the street and stop traffic like in a Spike Lee movie and say, "Wake up! Everyone stop! Yeah. We're humans." But I don't think that other people exist, and I that is my most shameful confession. I think that if you started to care that other people existed, you would get absorbed by them and you would never be alive
But
again.
In some way, does that qualify you or disqualify you as someone that creates characters and writes shows about people and for people?
Halfway through your question, I started thinking about myself.
Halfway through my question, I was thinking about little boys.
I don't know. And I confess that in the hopes that we all go through that. But I've known people like our friend Daniel Gillies, who's on Vampire Diaries, who before he was on Vampire Diaries, heard about Katrina happening and jumped in his car and drove down to Katrina.
Yeah, and commandeered a bulldozer because Red Cross wouldn't let him have one because you have to go through all this rigmarole to actually be like in a vehicle and helping people out. So he went to a neighborhood where nobody was helping, like one of the many neglected neighborhoods, and he just rented one. I forget how he did it.
I think he had to steal one because the government was like, you can't help people. You're not allowed to help. Helping people is worth $1. You have to go over to the line and get a helping people pin.
Future Elijah from Vampire Diaries is this. Oh mate, I got to clean up this garbage, man.
He's Australian or Kiwi.
Yeah.
He's not even his country, and he's like, fucking people are drowning.
He's like, Jeff was just watching the TV, and I was like, I can't just sit at home and watch. I'm like, I did.
I could. I was like, whoa, flipping back and forth. Whoa, what's Jerry Springer doing? That's my shameful confession, is that I'm everything they want me to be. I'm a fucking breastfeeding baby on this tube that comes into your living room. That's one of those confessions, like the guy that confessed the cat thing. The couple of those were the thing. It was like the real crime. It's like when you're really confessing it, it's like, and I don't believe that the confession helps, because otherwise I would have confessed it a long time ago. A confession is something that you don't want to be true. And we're primates, so if you hide it long enough, it goes away. Cat shits on the carpet, dries, turns into crumbs, blows away in the wind. Take your shitty underwear, put it in the garbage. You never shit your pants, we forgot. You play with matches, mom doesn't catch you. It never happened. You murder somebody and the body goes away. You're not guilty. So confession is over. Here's the thing about confession. No fucking resolution. That's the thing, okay? Maybe that's how we slipped. I'm just stumbling into this. I took world history in 10th grade. The Catholic Church invented this concept of they would sell you absolution. Like they put $1 value on it. That would be my next step, as I would say, write it down on a slip of paper. We'll read it out loud. Tell it to me or me alone. Give me $1. Now it's done. Now it's over. Now you didn't do it. Maybe that's not how confession works. Maybe confession just needs to happen and just bubble it up. It just becomes a froth, like a zit on your face. A blackhead turns into a whitehead. Maybe it stays painful. Maybe it festers. But maybe honesty stays the best policy. We confessed stuff that doesn't lead to us not having done stuff. I'm still a shitty person. I shared it with you though. It goes to the front of my brain. I don't know. So that's it. So now we move on to because this is important. I'm making this commitment. We got the Harmontown.com website going up. I'm going to put on the Harmontown.com sometime between now and the next show.
Oh, right.
I have to make sure that Jeff and I have rolled first level Dungeons and Dragons characters. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons characters. I guess I have to specify first edition. Well, okay. Okay. Sorry, buddy. Somebody cried out in pain, like a wolf trapped in a little...
The saddest confession of all.
Well, okay. All right. Well, that doesn't... See, that already gets complicated, because I grew up on just AD&D with the old school stuff. I don't know. So is anybody here, is somebody here like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of aficionado? All right. First hand to shoot up. Are you willing to come up here for just a second? Yeah. Just to answer some questions. It doesn't...
Let's welcome him to the stage.
You'll all be...
What is your name?
Spencer.
Spencer, everybody.
That's already a good...
I gotta admit, AD&D is a bit before my time, but I
get it.
I've read the books. I just haven't played it too much.
Well, that's why I called you up, because what has happened since '89? Like,
Well, 9/11 happened.
Well, I didn't care. I just there's how many? What edition of Dungeons and Dragons are we on?
I think there's like 4th edition right
Jesus
now.
Christ! Is it better than 3rd? Has it been getting better?
3rd edition's probably better. 4th edition's too easy.
Does that make anyone angry?
It's really dumbed down.
3rd edition's better than 4th?
Yeah, there's...
Okay, I'm willing to take that as a core.
All right, yeah, I love
so
it.
much.
All right. Spencer, would you be willing to generate first level characters for Jeff Davis and me, and then we'll put them online. So sometime talk to us after the show.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll arrange you being able to upload them.
Have you been a dungeon master before?
Yeah, I was like, before I was coming here.
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. We haven't started yet. I'll cast a magic missile. I don't even know what that is. No, awesome. So you've done it before.
Yeah, no, I was just writing some stuff today, actually.
Fucking yes.
Hey, don't give him the fucking job.
I'm saying.
I just need an audition.
We lucked
You'll get
out.
an audition for
But
sure.
who better to start with? We'll inaugurate this new segment.
We need characters.
Now, what is the end game? We're going to try to find somebody that we actually want. We'll try out a handful of people.
Yeah, we'll play like 15-minute segments with them. It's not that fair, but either is American Idol. I mean, Radiohead wouldn't win American Idol. You need to listen to a whole album before you realize they're worth it. And then we'll start playing D&D.
Are you going to be Mitch Nightblade or whatever your name was? I was close, wasn't I?
Spencer, if you could do us the honor of picking the race and class of the characters, you don't have to name them. We'll name them.
Okay. Rob Schraub is having a heart attack in the audience.
So then part of our show next week is you'll present the characters next week.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm all for it. I know I'm going to win.
Come to next week's Harmontown with your satchels and your dice. I have a feeling there's a lot of dungeon masters out there in Los Angeles, and I think all of them listen to this podcast.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I think you've.
I know all of them.
All right. Well, thank you, Spencer, for
Spencer, everyone.
I trust Spencer. I trust Spencer to say third edition is the way to go. I don't know, man. When I was a kid, it was there were no editions. There was my Dungeons Master's guide had melted wax on the inside cover and like just all kinds of notes and maps, and because everyone felt like you were this close to worshiping the devil. It was punk rock. It was cool. All you people care about is fucking Inception. That's all you care about. That's your Dungeons and Dragons. Because if you think about it, a troll could be a paladin. That's mind-blowing. A dream in a dream, that's a 6-year-old could say that. We're running way late.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. We had one abortive attempt to try to play it as adults, and it failed miserably.
Because I was the dungeon master. I'm the worst.
It didn't work. We didn't like it. Also, I went out and played crappy pitch and putt golf with Matt Gorley yesterday, and we invited you, but you were playing Minecraft, which I also don't see like the allure of.
It's the best. I can't explain that now. You're talking about another 3-hour podcast. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Minecraft, 1.31.
Was I close? Was it Mitch Nightblade or something? Not
Jim
Mitch.
Nightblade. I don't want.
All right, we will see you next week. We're going to get this settled. Thank you for coming to Harmontown, everybody. You guys have been tremendous.
Thank you for coming. You got the people to thank?
I can find it. Yeah, let's pull them up. I should have had that up. I can find it right now. The thank yous. Hold up. Keep it down, Olivia Newton-John. All right. Thanks once again, everybody. We want to thank Katie Levine for audio recording, Zach McKeever, our tech, Emily Gordon, producing the live show, Danielle Kramer, program director, Dustin Marshall, podcast producer, Mo Fathelbab, on-site director, and Jenny Fine, our fantastic artiste. Thank you so much for coming to Nerd Melt. Also, thank you listening out there in podcast land. Go and prosper. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's so cold in here. Don't you think you can get off the phone and look at me now? I think it's so rude.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. One of the things I value most in life is time. Time to spend with my daughter, time to spend with family, and the time I put into my company that's reinventing the way women color their hair. The busiest, most successful women I know use Madison Reed, the amazing hair color hack. In under an hour and for less than $25, Madison Reed delivers gorgeous, shiny, multi-dimensional, healthy-looking hair with an ammonia-free formula. You'll look like you just came from a salon, but the reality is you have more me time to do what you love. Things get busy. Let us take care of you and your hair. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code NEW. That's code NEW. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.